Good evening, this is Ryan with Off-Road Radio. I am going to be delivering to you a very fantastic summary of my what I believe to be the best and most accessible means of communication while off-roading, and that is the wonderful world of GMRS. And so we're going to go through that to understand it in full and not in full. We're going to understand it at a very high level. This is going to be a very simple video. It's going to be clear and concise and to the point what GMRS is, who defines it, and how you go get licensed. Simple. All right, so we're going to do this, and I'm going to talk about it in depth and got my slides to work, so yay. First thing we're going to talk about is, okay, what is GMRS? Well, GMRS, first and foremost, stands for the General Mobile Radio Service. It is defined by the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. They are the overlords for all things communication in the United States of America. So they write all the regulations that you must adhere to, as well as television stations, radio broadcast stations, and the like. And so the first in many links today that I will provide for you is the first one is the ECFR right here, this guy. It is the most notably it's Title 47. Uh, all of the layers very stratified when you go into it. We're looking at Subchapter D, Part 95. That's what defines GMRS. If you were looking at amateur radio, it's in Subchapter D, Part 97. We're not going to talk about that. So, a couple things I extracted from said document is Part 95.1703 right here that defines it. I could define it in my own words, but this one does a very good job, and it is by and far the ruling law of the land. So we're going to go into it and talk to it at length and dissect every little piece of it. So first thing it says is General Mobile Radio Service, or GMRS, is a mobile two-way voice communication service with limited data applications. Pause. So we're going to dissect that. A mobile two-way voice communication service. It's not really a service, and it doesn't mean you have to be mobile. You can be stationary. You can be tied to a chair. You can be Jimmy Hava with concrete shoes at the bottom of a river somewhere. I don't care. You can be stationary, but I'm reading it like a lawyer. So it says you have to be mobile, and it's a service. So I don't know why it's a service, because you buy your own radios and facilitate your own communications, but whatever. They don't write well sometimes. With limited data applications, so you can transmit data, meaning that you have to have some processing device gathering some sort of parameters and then transmit that over the air to another radio that then pulls that and decodes it and displays it some human readable format that somebody cares about on the other end, right? So the next thing is for facilitating activities of an individual licensee and their family members, including but not limited to voluntary provision of assistance to the public during emergencies and natural disasters. Pause again. We will talk about this here. So for facilitating activities, that's the first thing we're going to look at. Facilitating activities. What does that mean? That means doing anything. Use it whenever you want. Of individual licensees and their family members. Okay, well, who are the family members? Well, we'll talk about that down here. Not going to really worry about it right now, but your family members are included who use your license. It's not like a driver's license where your Uncle Bob gets to do it. No, no, no. This is a license where it extends to your family. So then it says not limited to voluntary provision of assistance to the public during emergencies and natural disasters. That's if you so desire to, right? If you want to help people out when you've mastered this means of communication, you can assist people who normally would not know how to communicate long distances. Okay, we'll leave that at that. There are groups, right, within the GMRS and amateur radio populations that practice emergency services, right? So they actually hold drills to set up a communication system and be able to communicate effectively during those situations. So they commit it to muscle memory so that in the event of emergency, you can actually do the job of providing that particular service to your fellow American. Anyway, going on. Looking down here, we're going to expand on the family, okay? And so basically this is who may use it, right? So I'm going to look over here because there's something blocking it. So it's basically any individual who holds an individual license may allow his or her immediate family members to operate his or her GMRS station or stations, which basically means a radio station or multiple stations, Immediate family members are a licensed spouse, children, grandchildren, stepchildren, parents, grandparents, stepbrothers, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cats, dogs, squirrels, hamsters, and the in-laws. So basically your entire family. And so it's very useful where one licensee can allow their entire family to use it. So that's quite it's quite advantageous to have. Moving on, we're going to talk about the channels, right? So the frequencies that we are allotted once you have a license. And so your first thing you'll see is you're going to see another acronym that I haven't introduced yet, and that is FRS. So FRS is the Family Radio Service. It is free to use. They are well defined, and you really don't have any choice when you buy one of these little guys. This is a Cobra. Sorry about the focus. It's a Cobra walkie-talkie. It's an FRS device. It is very limited in its power, configuration, modification. You basically can't modify. They basically stipulate the FCC overlords state you cannot modify this. You cannot remove this antenna. It is not programmable. A lot of other GMRS radios you can program to do specific things, but we're not going to really worry about that right now. Just know that this is an FRS radio that you can buy at any sporting goods store and that you've probably played with before sometime when you were a kid. And so they share the same channels and frequencies. Now, there's some expansion on the channels and frequencies with regards to GMRS capability. I'm not going to talk about that today. We're just going through the basic 22 channels that are available to us. So in this column, we have the channel, and we have 1 through 22. And then the next column over is the frequency in megahertz. So this indicates that channel 1 is at 462.5625 megahertz. And in this column, we have the FRS power. And so this is just basically showing the difference between the two power ratings between FRS and the GMRS power. Do not pay attention to this. We will talk about bandwidth later. Okay, not really for the discussion now. But so going back to power, FRS, it allows for 2 watts of power. And for all intents and purposes, for those who don't understand what wattage is with regards to radio transmission, 2 watts isn't a lot. Right? It's pretty minimal. It's not bad, but it's pretty minimal. There are other applications that are limited to much less than that. GMRS, however, has 5 watts. And this holds true for channels 1 through 7. Same thing, FRS 1 through 7, 2 watts. Okay, we're really not going to pay attention too much to channel 8 through 14. They are limited to 0.5 watts on both the FRS and GMRS frequencies, or frequencies. Allotted capabilities. Okay, so now this is really where the difference comes in. So we're looking to look at channels 15 through 22, and in traditional fashion that we've seen so far, FRS sticks at 2 watts. Now, however, you will see a massive jump where GMRS on 15 through 22 allows for 50 watts. So we're going to stop it there, and just so you can understand what capabilities are above and beyond what GMRS has over FRS. And I'm not going to talk about the other channels with the additional capabilities. We'll go into that, but believe me, they're well worth the time spent to talk about that capability later. And I'll do that in my next video, explaining what repeaters are, what they do for us. So we're going to move on. So what do you do to get your license? Okay, well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to this little guy right here. This is the FCC user login. So what this does is allows you to go in and set up an FCC account, so to speak, and it allows you to go in and set up an FRN number. You need an FRN number. What is FRN number? The government has embedded a acronym inside of another acronym, which is just absolutely terrible. It's just the worst. So FRN stands for FCC. What is it? Registration number. I got off on the disgust. Anyway, so FCC registration number, you have to acquire one of those. It is very, very easy. Follow this link. You click on register. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then you go down here. After you get your FRN number, it's basically given to you in an email from the FCC within minutes. So you take that little FRN number, you go to this site here, and this is where you will apply for your license. And you will fill out information there. You will give them $35. And then in about a couple of days, they will send you it's about 2 to 3 business days. They will issue your call sign. Your call sign is like your FCC serial number for GMRS. Like for me, I've got a GMRS call sign, and I have a separate amateur radio call sign. And so, and if you want to check on the status of it, right, you have to wait, right? It's not like the DMV where you just slide right through. You will have to wait for this license to be issued. And you can go here and see those things. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to take a look at what that means for us. So here, this is the, oops, I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry about that. This is the link where I told you to go get the FRN number. You'll follow it. You'll come here. You can't log in because you haven't created one at all yet. It'll be pointless. You come in here and click register. It will load the page. You will come up with a super cool username that no one else has. And then you come up with a super creative password that you will not write down, and you will not have any other password users like it. Nobody does that. So then you're going to fill out your information. Come down here. You're going to hit create account. They're going to email you your FRN number. You take that handy little FRN number, you come over here, go into License Manager. So what you're going to do is, well, this is the other link I sent you. You're going to come in here, plug your little FRN number in, and your super awesome password that you haven't told anybody, have not written down, and told not use anywhere else. Plug it right in here. You're going to hit submit, and it's going to ask you for $35 and a bunch of information that's personal to you. And you're going to get, then in about 2 days, you're going to get your information. And so this is the license search page that I'm going to give you as well. I'm not going to have a lot of time to talk about this, but you can search. You come in here. You can have multiple ways you can search, right? So you can search for anybody's call sign, right? You can come in here if you hear somebody's call sign over there. You want to know who the heck they are. You can go in by call sign, put their little call sign in here, and hit search. Now you do not have a call sign yet. You will be either inputting your FRN. If you want to memorize your FRN, or if you have it handy, you can plug that in here. You can select FRN, you can start typing all the stuff, and away you go. Or you go with name, right? And go, oh, okay, I want a name, right? I'm going to put a name in here. And so then you put your name in. Now, the best way, the fastest way this is to search is by putting last name, comma, space, first name. Hit search, and it will come up with hopefully your name. Now, if you have a very common name, you may want to use your FRN, because if you have a name of John Smith, it's going to come up with a bajillion different ones. So let's try that. So S-M-I-T-H, oops, I cannot actuate tonight, John. And we're going to let that go for a minute. Let's make sure she's going. We got the little magic circle spinning up here, and we're going to take a look and see what it returns. It's probably going to be a ton of stuff. And so while we wait, that's basically what we're doing here for this video, is giving you that. So yeah, there's a lot of John Smiths, and you can come in here, and there's their FRN numbers and the types of radio service they have, and there's lots of pages here. And let's see, let's go over to 8 and see if it's, oh yeah, there's lots and lots of pages here. So you got John Smith, the radio service. I'm not going to go into what the radio service is, but you can tell there are amateur radio operators here. Coming a little further, let's go to 13. Let's just see how many John Smith. Yeah, it's just going to keep going on and on and on. So point is, if you have a common name, put your FRN number in, it'll go much faster. So I wanted to just be able to communicate this to you on what GMRS is, right? And what the rules are behind it. Now, you need to go look at the rules yourself so you understand them in full. It's not my job to educate you in full. This is just pointing you to the locations where you can read on what the rules are and how you can get a license. So I want to thank you for watching, and just keep an eye out for our next video.